What's up, everybody? My name's Bryce, aka DubsNotSubs, and in today's video, we're in a different format. We are starting the first ever episode of the podcast arc. This is going to be a podcast about manga news and some anime stuff thrown in there, basically general stuff in the otaku community, but with a main focus on manga. And with me, I have my powerful co-host. You all know him, Boogie Snacks.
What's going on, everyone? Good to be here. Thanks, Dubs, for having me on.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on, man. So, if you guys don't know Boogie Snacks, I don't know how you do and how you're watching my channel, not him, but Boogie, go ahead and quickly introduce yourself, tag your channel, and I'll make sure that it's in the link in the description of all these episodes.
Of course, thank you, and of course, I'm happy to be here, man. Thank you for reaching out to me and allowing me to hop onto this project. This is actually a lot of fun, and it's something you really don't see too much in this community. But if you guys don't know who I am, my name is Boogie Snacks. You guys can go ahead and find me on YouTube. I create content similar to Dubs Not Subs, and it looks like today we are going to be starting the first episode of this podcast, which I am very excited for. So I hope everyone listening is staying safe and indoors and enjoying the content that we are trying out for you guys today.
That's right. So we have stuff from a new manga publisher. We have series ending. We have series starting. We got all the new releases for this month. But before we get started, Boogie, you staying safe out there? You doing good in this whole situation?
Yep, I'm out here on the West Coast here in the United States. I'm definitely here under lockdown in Los Angeles, and basically enjoying a lot of the content. I have time to enjoy a lot of content, and very hyped to be part of this, because this would be just the thing that I need to help me get through the week. So
yeah,
this is honestly great. So,
nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely, man. I don't know. I've been finding myself. I know a lot of people saying they're getting like burnout and all this like laziness, but I think it's just because I'm stuck inside with nothing to do. All I've been doing has just been like, can I do this idea? Can I do this idea? It's been like one of the most productive times I've had, and maybe it's just because I'm not used to it. Because ever since I was like 15, I got a job. So then I had a job in school. When I graduated, I went full time for like a whole year. My gap year sucked because all I did was a full time job, and then I went to college after that, and now I'm doing like part-time there. So I've never really had a time where I just sat home all day and did anything like this for a long time.
Yep, I hear you. Definitely that's been a topic of discussion, especially here on Twitter and within the community that we're in, small little niche community here on YouTube. Yeah, I definitely understand why some people would be feeling a bit lethargic, for lack of a better term. I definitely understand that. I am blessed right now to still be working like my full-time job. So during the week, not much has changed except for the fact that, I'm not going into the office so much anymore, and, just living at home. But I myself find myself in a position that I am constantly motivated to churn out new content. Unfortunately, I've had some bigger shoots for videos that have had to be canceled or pushed back, rather, I should say. Almost indefinitely, so I guess canceled in a way, because out here in Los Angeles, it would be incredibly hard to take a camera crew into certain stuff and do those kinds of things. But that being said, I think being stuck at home and being able to just use your creative, just be creative in the finite amount of space, to create content. I think it's a challenge, and I think it's good for me. It's good for my channel, and it's good for me to be able to be here at home and create content. So I definitely feel you on that aspect.
Yeah, definitely, man. I'm excited to have you on, like I said, but I guess without further ado, let's get right into this. We're going to be starting off with the first thing, and that is Keitan Books is a new manga publisher. They have four release things right now, but let's get into the article right here. It's based out of Southern California. Keitan Books promises a wide variety of releases. It's only fitting that their name references conveyor belt sushis, Keitan Sushi, which I've never heard before. It sounds actually pretty interesting. I kind of want to look that up after this, but with that choice for you to sample. The company is started by dedicated fans who are passionate about localizing the best series for U.S. speakers in the West. Keitan Books currently have 4 planned releases coming up, with 2 formally announced. So right now, right here, these are the 2 formally announced. I believe Loner Life in Another World right here is actually going to get a physical release out on April 24th, which is a tentative title. Obviously, with all the stuff that's going on, it's subject to change, but I believe this is also out in digital right now. But if you don't know what this is about. Haruka is just your average high school loner, minding his own business and keeping to himself as he makes it through his high school career, until one day he's suddenly sent to another world alongside all of the rest of his class. And then the second series here is Skin Ryugasaki-san. Due to her unique biological makeup, she sheds her skin multiple times a year. This one wouldn't ordinarily be an issue, but she suddenly finds herself, or rather her skin, the target of her classmates' affection. The peculiar Yagami-kun has a particular interest in reptiles. Ryogaki-san's unique psychological features have caught his inquisitive, meticulous eye. Thus begins the budding romance between two very unusual individuals. So these are the two series. First off, what do you think about a new manga publisher coming into the scene? Do you think that's going to survive, thrive, or how do you think it's going to go?
It's hard to say. I think it's hard to say. I mean, let's just right off the bat, seeing that, the new California-based manga localizing publishing company, Kaiten Books, announced its first 2 releases on Friday. The company has licensed, Shoji and Goji and BB's Loner Life in Another World, so on and so forth. It looks like they are, planning to release the first volume of Loner Life in Another World digitally on March 31st on Amazon. So they're already going to be releasing on pretty much the biggest platform you can sell books on digitally, which is Amazon. I think that's great, but I think it's hard to tell how any company would do, let alone a publishing company is going to do in the economic landscape that is unfolding here in Q1 and going into Q2 here, just globally. So it's hard to say. I think they're definitely going to have an uphill. With their first physical releases, maybe we can't say for sure, but being on shaky ground with, like I said before, what's happening around the world. So only time can tell. We'll see.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
hope for the best.
Especially things like we have the new Dempa came out recently, and I also believe One Piece is a newer publisher thing. And to be honest, I don't even know any other release by One Piece besides Rising of the Shield Hero. I think they have a new one coming out, which I have actually later in here for the manga releases. But seeing this, I always am worried about things because when you don't know what these two series are, besides if Ryogaki-san wasn't in here, I honestly wouldn't care about this publishing company because Loner Life in Another World sounds exactly like I'm Standing on a Million Lives, which is just basically the same exact premise as this, only nobody really... It's weird. It just sounds like I don't really like isekais in the sense of it's smart to start off with, obviously, because it's such a smart, or it's just such a popular genre at the moment. But what I really want to focus on is Skin Ryogaki-san. I hope this is kind of be their make it or break it for me, in my opinion. Obviously we gotta know what their book quality is like, what goes into it, because we haven't seen their physical releases. But this is a series that's definitely more interesting and something that seems that's gonna be definitely better for them and gonna make them more popular than Loner Life, because it's just you're trying to basically catch a fish in a sea of fish instead of something like this, which actually has its own, I guess, unique thing that's kind of pulling you in. I don't know. What do you think about that?
I think it depends. I mean, companies start off, and I think you may have a point here where it looks like Ryugaki-san might be the attraction, to use your fish example. I mean, it looks like that's the bait that they're throwing into the giant pool that is the manga and anime community. Totally fine. I see no problem with it. I think that it takes chutzpah enough to just start a publishing company in this small little niche section of the world, and who's to say that we don't know if they have any other plans or anything up their sleeves for Q2, Q3, or Q4 in 2020. Let alone moving into the future of 2021. So I think I wouldn't be able to do any better if I was trying to start a publishing company. So hats off to them.
Yeah.
Best of luck, and especially if it's a new California-based manga publishing company, and they're going to have my support being here in California. So I honestly wish them the best. Personally, out of the two, realistically, I probably wouldn't check out either of them as of right now, just because of where I am in my I guess position on YouTube. I'm still trying to burn through a huge back catalog of stuff. So I honestly probably wouldn't check out either of them, but the one that does seem the most attractive that I would check out initially would be the Ryugaki.
Yeah,
so I agree with you to
mm-hmm. Yeah, I will be checking out this series. So when this comes, I believe this comes out summer is their physical release. I'm not exactly sure again on the digital release. But yeah, this series, obviously, they still have 2 titles that haven't been released yet so we'll have to see what they do. But it's just such a hard industry to crack in, especially with you have like giants like Viz and Kodansha. every other thing basically already set up, and you're just trying to break through such a huge wall. But I wish them all the best. Obviously, Kaiten Books, this is the new manga publisher. We're going to move on to our next segment, which is that Viz Media is going to publish Tite Kubo's Burn the Witch manga simultaneously in English. And as you guys know, earlier this month, Burn the Witch came out in a one-shot, and they're actually going to, in the summer, he's going to turn this into an actual series. So let's get to this article. Kubo is turning his one-shot manga, Burn the Witch, into a serialization that will debut this summer and will run in Seshua's Weekly Shonen Jump magazine in Japan. While Seshua and Viz have not yet confirmed the length of this series, Kubo said in a comment that he has already finished the manuscripts for the manga. Viz Media added the original one-shot manga to its English Shonen Jump service on Friday. The manga chapter is also available on Shonen Jump Plus and the website for free. The one-shot takes place in the same world as Kubo's Bleach manga. Seshua published the chapter in July 2018, and Viz Media published the chapter in English digitally on the same day. The chapter centers around Noelle Nihashi and Nini Spango, who work as witches at the Wingbird headquarters in Reverse London's Natural Dragon Management Agency. Those who live in Reverse London are able to see supernatural creatures such as dragons. Noelle and Nini work to help promote coexistence between these creatures and humans, but sometimes must undergo missions to exterminate the evil creatures. So basically, it's set in the same world. It's kind of a sequel series with no connection to Bleach, as far as I know, besides being set in the same universe. I read the first one shot, and I'm not exactly sure how I feel about it. I've never actually read Bleach, so I don't really know how it starts off, but I have read the one shot. It's going to be one of those things where it's kind of, I don't know, it seems very old in the style that the main character, the guy, is really into just, like, his whole, like, point is to just see the girl's panties, which is a little weird, but I think it's just one of those things of the age. Have you read it, Boogie, and what do you think about it?
No, I've never read Bleach. I get a lot of recommendations for it on my. It's just one of those series that, out of the big three, I never really just got into for X amount of reasons. I don't really know. I have seen a trend that a lot of manga tubers have been diving back into Bleach, especially after this announcement. I really can't really speak on this too much. I haven't read the one shot yet. Don't really even have plans to do so. Just because I'm just trying to burn through my back catalog just for, just to, get through it. So honestly, I really can't speak too much on this one, buddy.
Yeah, it's all good. I'm telling you, my backlog is so bad. I had to buy a shelf for how bad my backlog is. I have like a small shelf just set up, and it's a nightmare, man. I look at it like just like this mountain I have to climb. But it's weird now that I have time and I'm like actually grinding down and it's getting smaller and smaller. I'm kind of feeling a little bit sad that I don't have all these options for stuff to read. It's a bit weird. I don't know.
I will say that if you are a Bleach fan, this is probably a huge moment because I don't think anything's happened in the Bleach franchise for all too long. So this is probably a big deal for them. So I'm happy if you're a Bleach fan. I'm definitely happy for you, and I hope that this is a high quality production. And that's thoroughly enjoyable for anyone that would, want to consume the content.
Dude, from what I've read from the manga, besides like the main character, which is a little bit weird, overall I don't think it's too bad. I actually overall really enjoyed the one shot itself. I'm excited to see what it is. I don't know how much is gonna go over my head because I've never read the Bleach series before, but from what it sounds like, it's gonna be its own thing where like entry level people can get into it. But I'm excited, and again, like you said, Bleach is definitely getting something that is continuing for it, which it hasn't really a lot. And I also know that there is an anime coming out for it that's going to be continuing, which is really cool for them. But from what I've heard from people, I think the anime is going to start where a lot of people say the manga got really, really bad. I think it's called the Wano arc. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. Again, never read Bleach. But again, no wishing nothing from the best for Tite Kubo and Bleach. I'm happy for all you Bleach fans who got it and get to see a continuation of this. I'm excited to see where it goes. Obviously, it's free on Viz Media's Shonen Jump app and also the Manga Plus app for free, or you could pay the $2 and get the backlog just in case they put it in the back. But anyway, we are going to be next talking about Samurai 8 ending. Basically, this was the creator of Naruto's... Rest in peace. Man, this is the creator of Naruto's what was supposed to be his manga that he created based on his own personal interests, and obviously we saw how this worked out. It's maybe be a passing project, but in my opinion, I think this thing was a disaster. I did not enjoy this at all. I was just gonna read it just because he made it, and I just know, like, obviously Naruto puts it up as like, okay, maybe it'll be this good, but no. in my opinion, this is just like a jumbled mess, and it doesn't really have a lot going for it. I think it's okay, but what do you think, Boogie? How do you like this manga?
I never got into Samurai 8. I never did. Of course, there was hype when it first came out. Honestly, I actually have a couple creator friends here on YouTube that they very much did enjoy the series, and I feel bad for them because it didn't seem like the series lasted all too long. And I do know that it did have, regardless of what we're reading online, it did have a fan base, whether it be big nor small. Sadly, that fan base financially couldn't support it enough to continue the series, which is quite unfortunate. But at the end of the day, a business is a business, and the lights need to be kept on with overhead, so on and so forth. And if the series just wasn't pulling in the numbers, just like any other series, it doesn't matter who the creator is, it will get axed. So
yeah, no mercy.
No mercy, and that is welcome to the business world. But I never got a chance to check it out. I do feel bad for my friends and the fans of the series that felt like it got cut too short. Feel bad about that. But personally, I had no attachment to it because I never checked it out. Yeah, and I don't think I will at this point either. But hats off to those that did and enjoyed the series.
Honestly,
I feel bad for you guys.
Don't waste your time, man. It's not. I get that people enjoyed it, but man, if we're gonna go off, let's go off a little bit of a rabbit trail about the fan community itself. Have you like the drama around this? Like, Base Senpai released a tweet talking about how bad it was. Obviously, Base persona troll. He does this thing, but he had as his Twitter bio or avatar. My bad. He had a idol, but everyone actually thought he was a girl. But then you got a bunch of these like people, all like Samurai 8 fans, talking about how she was a girl. They thought Base Senpai was a girl, and just basically how her opinion didn't matter, and just all this like really weird just rage because their series was getting canceled and they were salty, so they basically took out this rage on it. And obviously, I don't think all Samurai 8's fans were like that. A lot of them just genuinely enjoyed the series and was kind of sad to see it end. But it comes down to this thing where I've been noticing a lot in anime communities. You have things like My Hero Academia, JoJo, One Piece, all the big stuff. They have their communities that, for the most part, most of them are normal. Obviously, they enjoy their show, they like talking about it. But then you have these two, like these fringe community, like sections of them that are just the loudest. So this whole thing gets like a label put on, like My Hero Academia, like when like the names and all this other stuff, that the drama that surrounded Horikoshi, and like all these fans weren't sending him death threats, and like just this really weird fringe thing in manga communities and manga fan bases, which I see a lot in a lot of different things. But being in this community, it's just a bit weird to, I guess, I know that you love your series, but just to get to the fact that you love the series too much to the point where you're sending death threats to people, like just becoming like making weird sexist comments that I don't really get. But yeah, have you seen this in the community, and how do you think it goes?
Definitely seen in the community. It's hard not to, as you said. The minority is very vocal, so it's hard not to see it. Especially those tweets get like retweeted and so on and so forth. It's hard not to. And of course, we all know what happened with Based and the whole 9 yards. That being said, I think that if you take that at face value, you're fighting an uphill battle right away. I tend not to pay too much attention to that. I think everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and because of that, the internet is a wonderful place. But then also it can get to examples that we just spoke about. You just spoke about. Me personally, I'm under the pretense and I'm under the belief that, hey, if you liked it, more power to you. I'm glad that you found something that you liked. Of course, some people got a little vocal and aggressive about it, but I really don't pay too much attention to those types of people. So I really don't have too much to comment on that, man, to be honest.
It's all good. I don't know. It's just, I don't know why. It doesn't really get to me. Obviously, like you say, I ignore it for the most part. It's just one of those things where it's just like one of those small nuisances where you like see it, you just kind of like scoff at it and continue scrolling. I just don't get, maybe it's just the anonymousness of like the internet, where you could just put an avatar of an anime character, whatever name, and you just have no repercussions for what you say, and it just gives people like these like big I don't know, just more confidence than they usually get. But anyway, that's enough about that. We're gonna move on to our next article, which is that the Seven Deadly Sins manga is officially ending. I know earlier in this year it actually was going to end, or from what I heard it was going to end, but then for some reason it just kept going. I don't really know, but there's a lot of stuff actually in this, so we're gonna get into this. It's got a a sequel, an anime, and a stage play going on. So we'll get into this article right now. The issue is also revealed that the manga will get a sequel tentatively titled, I'm not going to read that Japanese, it's just called The Four Knights of the Apocalypse, as well as a new stage play. The sequel manga story will center on Tristan, one of the four horsemen. And also up here, it also announces that there will be a continuation of the anime. But a lot of things I've been hearing with the anime itself is that it will... or that Studio Dean, I believe it switches to from whoever was doing it before, and the animation has gotten really bad, which really scares me because obviously the Netflix series, or the season hasn't come out yet in English. I tried to use a VPN, it doesn't work. I was really frustrated about that, but overall, I think Seven Deadly Sins is one of those series that you either love it or hate it. I've heard a lot of you, the people are all in or all out, and it's just one of those shonen battle series that really... I obviously am all in, and I love it to a really big degree, but with it ending 40 volumes, it's pretty long, but I hope that they kept how great it was throughout the entire series, because obviously I've only seen up to, I believe, the third season, which is out right now, and I have now the books. I'm going to get into those at a certain point, but overall, I think this is one of the better series. It sold, I believe 30 million copies or something like that. But anyway, based, my bad, I'm stuck on base from the last thing. Boogie, have you read this, and what do you think about the series ending?
So I haven't read Seven Deadly Sins. I am a fan, though. I've seen everything that's out currently on
you watched
Netflix,
the
at least
anime?
in the States. The anime is really, really good. Very much did enjoy it. Left me wanting more so, and I believe we are getting the next season, probably the final season, to be honest, right? Maybe, I don't know. I think it's coming out in 2020, right? Could be wrong. Someone fact check that. But yeah, so it's awesome that in my opinion, it's good that it's ending. 40 volumes, if that's correct.
Yes.
40 volumes. It sounds like a good number to me for a good long series. That sounds great. I don't think it's ridiculously large, and I don't think that it's a smaller series either. I think 40 is good, between like 35 and 45 volumes for like a good long shonen series. I think that's great. Obviously, One Piece excluded.
Dude, it's one of those... One Piece is just one of those special series that I don't know how you can get 95 volumes out of that. I mean, obviously, Oda Sensei is a just absolute legend. You were right. It is August that is coming out, the new season 4. I don't know if it's exactly going to be the last season, but I'm not sure exactly where the third season is going to end in the anime. It could be, possibly. I could definitely see that. Also, I forgot to read this part in the article, but Crunchyroll is going to be posting the new chapters as they appear. But yeah, yep. I mean, the stage play itself, I don't know. Animes and stuff like that and like mangas have been getting stage plays a lot, and I've never seen one. I'd like to see like an actual stage play if I ever got the chance to go to Japan, like see like what an anime stage play would look like. But what about you, Boogie?
So... it's interesting, right? It's interesting bringing anime into like a live movie scenario, let alone a thespian environment, let alone on stage in a theater, right? That's, to me, it's very unusual. Now, I think in any environment in the anime and manga community where you're creating jobs in a new, sector of work, in the entertainment industry, I think that's great. Because there's people that are theater heads, for lack of a better term, and they love going to the theater. And now you're opening up the Seven Deadly Sins to not only fans of the series, but people that love theater work. And of course, that gives other actors and actresses or thespians a moment to shine. And I think it's wonderful. I've never seen one personally. Don't really have an inclination to go see it. Maybe if it was out of Playhouse, locally, and it was easy to access, sure. I would be interested to see the numbers and how long it's playing. But I have no gripes against it. I think it's absolutely wonderful, and looking forward to the reviews.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it's cool to see that, like, this small niche that, like, I mean, obviously in Japan it's way bigger. It's, like, the whole thing. But just, like, to grow bigger and bigger like this, slowly, maybe one day we might actually get stage plays of anime. in America, which would be absolutely mind-blowing to me. I could never see it, but if it happens, it happens. I would be all for it, absolutely. Like you said, if it was like at a local theater, like somewhere up in Chicago. Obviously, I don't live in Chicago, but I'm close to there, so it'd have to be a theater there. But anyway, that is Seven Deadly Sins. I think it's cool that it's ending there. Obviously, not taking too long to like let the series go stale. But we're gonna go with our next series or next article, which is that Dark Horse has one new license, and then they are continuing a series, and they have a remastering of an older series. So we have the publisher Penguin Random House is listing English releases for the first volumes of Keep Your Hands Off Ezoken and Mob Psycho 100 Reagan under Dark Horse. Penguin Random House is also listing a new Dark Horse comic release of Haruki Samura's Blades of the Immortal manga in this deluxe release, with the first volume slated for October 20th. Like the Dark Horse Comics' previous omnibus re-releases of the manga, each volume of a deluxe will compile 3 volumes from the original manga. However, the deluxe release will be a hardcover with round spine, with higher paper quality, a fall leather cover, a satin bookmark, and will retain the original 7x10 format of the serialized manga for the time. And the release will retain the left to right order that it was when they first did it, because obviously a lot of things read right to left in the manga community, obviously with Tokyo Pop switching the whole thing around. But this one is actually before that, since when they actually went through a painstaking process of reformatting the entire thing. But we're going to continue with this. The publishing company is listing the first volume of Sumito's Orara's Keep Your Hands Off Ezoken manga with an October 6th release. The company describes the manga as Midoriya loves to design worlds, Tsumabe loves to animate, Sakaya loves to make money, and the Shibahama Sky, they call them Ezoken, a 3-girl club determined to produce their own spectacular science fiction anime. But with no budget from their school and a leaky warehouse for a studio, Ezoken is going to have to work hard and use their imagination, the one thing they've got plenty of. This is obviously off of the anime. Obviously, it's not based on the anime series. The anime series is based off the manga, but this is the original adaptation getting released, and I think it's crazy that Dark Horse got this. They're definitely cracking down. From what I've heard from my boy Flip Otaku, was saying that they lost a lot of licenses in actual comics, so they're moving a lot more into the manga verse, which I think is definitely a smart move. Obviously, we're seeing comic sales going on the decline and manga sales going up. But last up, we have Penguin Random House is listing Mob Psycho 100 Reagan manga for October 27th release. The company describes the manga: in a world haunted by dangerous supernatural forces, there are still some problems you can't solve no matter how much spiritual power you have. And a good thing, too, because phony exorcist Reagan Artaka? I don't know exactly how to say that. Doesn't have any. But that's never stopped Reagan from running a ghost-busting business. And his new part-time office assistant is none other than Tomei Kurata, a girl obsessed with the strange and unexplained, and the schoolmate of Reagan's protege, Shigo, or Mob, as you guys all know him. Yet, whereas Mob's incredible psychic strength resolved many a case for Reagan, Tome is as powerless as her boss, or so she may think at the time. But if there's one thing a master scam artist knows how to teach, it's the power of confidence and belief. Basically, this is just a spin-off manga to Mob Psycho 100. This is going to be an original version. I don't believe this is based on anime, but that's basically the 3 new releases they have. First off, let's talk about the Blades of the Immortal Deluxe Edition. This is actually something I'm excited for, and obviously a little mad for. They obviously continued or just recently released all the omnibuses for Blades of the Immortal, and now they're releasing it. It's obviously a cash grab, but at the same time, for people who haven't checked out Blades of the Immortal and maybe missed the omnibus, I think this is actually a great chance to get into the series. Obviously, when you see Berserk's deluxe editions, Hellsing's that are coming out are very, very nice. Have you checked out Blades of the Immortal, Boogie? And are you going to pick up the deluxe editions?
So this is a question that is very, how do I put this? This is an infamous question on my channel, whether it be in my live streams or my comment sections. This probably may be in the top 5 of all-time most recommended and brought up again and again and again and again on the channel. I'm thinking of I can think of a handful of instances where it's just like overwhelmingly recommended, which is great, right? I've been recommended the anime. I've been recommended to read the manga. You name it. Personally, I have not checked it out as of yet, so I fall under the category of which you just spoke about. So it looks like I went to go look at the omnibuses, and I actually found out while looking up, the omnibus, is that looks like we will be getting the deluxe editions, which look absolutely, quite promising, and that's the way to collect it. Price point wise, hopefully they aren't ridiculous. I would be okay with the price point between like $25 and $35. I would be okay with that, and it looks like they'll probably be around like $30. From my understanding,
they
maybe
will
more.
they start off at retail price $50, but I've like Berserk, that's what they always are, but I never pay for that. Obviously, like right when the pre-order started, it'll be $50, but if you wait, it'll go lower. I haven't purchased any of my Blades of the Immortal, or not Blades of the Immortal, Berserk for more than $35. Like, because I don't want
50
to.
out the gate is 50 out the gate's a little crazy.
It's too much.
I would not pay 50 out the gate for that, because how many deluxe editions will there be? Let's just do the math really simply.
So it's just gonna be 3. It'll be 10, or 10. They'll probably do a 4-in-1 for the last one because there's 31.
Okay, that's a solid chunk of change. If it's at $50, that's crazy.
That's insane.
So I don't see that. I don't foresee them selling them at $50. $30 is a little more. That's still going to be expensive for a lot of people, especially. Let's look at how they're releasing into the economy that they're releasing into. Even $30 is going to be a little much for a lot of people right now, in my opinion. Personally, I'm blessed. Like, I would be able to afford it as they do come out. So that's how I will be personally checking out the series. And I probably won't even start reading it until like 3 or 4 of the deluxe, you get a couple of, so you can binge read it,
definitely.
So
they're gonna take a couple years to get out.
I think it's wonderful.
Yeah,
they're gonna take a few years to get out, but I think it's great. Even though they just released the omnibuses, I think anytime a series gets nice hardcovers, it's a win.
Oh yeah,
it's a win for that series. It's a win for a lot of people's bookshelves. My heart goes out to the people that dropped a lot of money on the omnibus.
Me.
Because that is unfortunate. Yeah, that is unfortunate. And the resale value is, who knows if you guys want. And I've never understood why people would double collect series. Just coming from a standpoint of just like physical real estate in your house. How much space do you want to dedicate to one series? But it's to each their own. Personally, if I would collect one series, it would just be that. I'm going to have whatever version that I have. I wouldn't collect the series, so that's why I'll personally be waiting for the deluxe editions.
Oh yeah, definitely. I was like, here's my thinking was, I got like 1 through 17 in the actual like singles, the original form, but they because I got on eBay, I was like 1 through 17. I guess I'll check it out, and if I do it, I didn't know about like Dark Horse's like ominous. I don't know. Like, just everybody knows how bad they are at not printing things and things going out of stock all the time. I didn't know that. I was a young buck in the community. I bought it with this like, oh, cool. If I got this, I'll get more, right? It's super cheap. And then I found out there's nothing. And then I see, oh my God, there's an omnibus form coming out. I'm like, I have to get this so it doesn't go out of print. So I buy all that. A month later, you find out, oh, now there's an even better version coming out. So why did I waste my money on those? Right. But I mean, obviously, I'm just happy enough to read it at this point. I'm not going to complain about it. I'm just happy I didn't miss out on it completely, because there's other series that I would like to check out that are out of print to the point where I can't even get it. But obviously, this is going to be a cool release. I hope you enjoy.
To me, it seems. You mentioned before, and I don't mean to cut you off, but you mentioned that it was a cash grab.
Yeah,
I agree to a certain extent. I think this is also a way of stating that, Blade of the Immortal is so good that this is finally, they're calling it a deluxe edition, but, if this was, I come from a music background. So if I were to buy like a Gibson Les Paul, this would be, the equivalent of like a collector's choice. This seems like it's for the collector.
Yeah.
And this seems like a win for their bookshelf. So I think that there'll be some people, regardless of the fact, that will be double or maybe even triple dipping in on this. Yeah, it's a win. Overall, it's a win.
It's definitely a win. Like, the thing is, I do think it's a cash grab to a certain extent, but I think that the problem is when they did this, they already released the omnibuses before they did the Berserk Deluxe, like, collector's edition. So I think when they found out those worked, they're like, oh, I guess we'll do that. But obviously, when you're already printing out the omnibus, you got to finish it at that point. So I can see where the confusion would come in, to where it's not really a cash grab. It is a cash grab, but it's not at the same time. Obviously, in the end, it's just a win. Is you could check it out in the best way you can. Definitely go for the deluxe editions. I'd recommend the original. Like, you're never gonna find the singles, probably, and the omnibuses are probably in the same thing right now, especially because of the deluxe. But definitely go for the deluxe if you can. I think it's a great series. Then next up, we're going to be talking about Keep Your Hands Off Ezekin, the winter anime. Have you seen it, or have you read it all?
No, this one I'm completely foreign to, so I'm gonna let you take the reins.
All right, I got this, man. I will try to sell this the best I can. So basically, I really like this series. If you haven't checked out the anime, it's this season's best anime without a doubt. Masaki Yuasha, I believe that's his name, the director of the series, takes this to another level. It's a fantastic look into what the anime community are, just basically the passion of creating an anime, the love that goes into it, how people outlooks on the anime industry, like what makes their passion burn for the industry, especially from a very young perspective. Like, they're obviously high schoolers, so they're getting the very, just like, before you meet your hero, like all the hardships that go into it. It's basically, you're learning about the realities of it, just why they love it, what makes this great to them. I'm excited to see the manga and see if it's better than the anime. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to turn over because of how great the anime is and what the expectations we're going to have for it. And obviously, with a show about anime, it's going to look better in motion, with sound, with all this other stuff they're trying to incorporate. So it's going to be one of those bridges that's going to be hard to cross over, but I wish nothing for the best for them. And last up, we have Mob Psycho Reigen. I don't really know anything about Mob Psycho. I've never exactly seen it, but have you seen it, Boogie, or not? Because we can move on if you haven't.
No, I haven't, but we're back once again playing the same old dance and the same old song. This is yet another series that comes highly recommended to me.
Yeah, I get that too.
In most of my videos or my live streams. So, but I haven't checked it out yet. I'll be honest with you guys.
Yeah, I haven't either. It's one of those things where I plan to do it all the time, but then I just never do it because it's just so much other stuff that I guess I'm more invested in. And it's like, it's there, so I'm not really rushing to like wait for it to disappear because it's just gonna be there for a long time. I'm not really in a hurry to like catch up on it or anything. But yeah. Okay, so we are going to go, before we get into the next segment, which is going to be all the manga releases for the month, we are going to do a segment called For Me to You, which I'll try to do whenever I find out good stuff for you guys, for the viewers, if you're listening to this, about sales and like cool stuff for you guys, for you otakus, just beneficial for you. No, these aren't sponsors or anything. This is just stuff I found out. So there's actually a Retro Crush app, which, if you guys do not know that, this was a YouTube channel that did a lot of clips of old anime. So they've started an app now where basically it's just all classic anime. You can check it out anytime, just a streaming service. It's free. You can watch any old anime. There's a ton of different stuff on there. I downloaded it today. It's actually a pretty nice app, and it's something that I definitely recommend you check out if you do like your classic animes. I saw stuff like Robot Carnival, Legends of the Galactic, or is it Legend of the Galactic Railroad or something like that? But overall, check it out. It's free. Give it a chance. It's not going to hurt you if you don't do it. And then second off, we have Kodansha's last digital sale, my bad. But all their series for volume ones, for the most part, all their series are actually 99 cents. So if you use a series you've been itching to check out and you read digital, definitely go for that. It's on all platforms. There's also They also published all their stuff on the I almost said the Wii U, the Nintendo Switch app that is called Isno. I'll look it up in a second, but it's basically the Nintendo Switch app, and all their stuff is on there now, and I believe the sale is also running on there. But that is for you guys. Check that out. It's free. I'll try to leave a link in the description to both those things. But we're going to go into our next segment, Boogie, which is called Cop or Drop for this month of manga. I'm going to read you the description of the series. We'll see how interested you are in it, whether you think you could give it your recommendation. Obviously, take this with a grain of salt. Neither of us know really a super lot about these series besides the description itself. But let's get into this. I'm going to read it. We'll get into what we think about it. But without further ado, we're going to start off with our first series for the month of April. This is all the stuff for April. We have BL Metamorphosis, or Boys Love Metamorphosis. This is about Ichinoi, a 75-year-old woman living in a peaceful life, unwittingly buys a Boys Love manga one day and is fascinated by what she finds inside. When she returns to the bookstore to buy the next volume, the high school girl working there, Yurara, a seasoned BL fan, notices a budding fangirl when she sees one. The Yurara offers when Yurara, I cannot say that. That's a lot. That's too many repeating syllables. Offers to help Ichinoi explored this world, this whole new world of fiction. The two dive into BL fandom together and form an unlikely friendship along the way. This is something I'd recommend to other people. Obviously, BL is not my thing. I'm just going to be honest. It's not a genre that I've really gotten into. But for people who like BL, I think this is going to be one of those cool things. And I really like manga or series about like two people bonding over a common hobby. Obviously, I started this channel so I could talk to people like Boogie, Flip, Base, all these other people who like manga too and just enjoy and have a good time. So seeing a series about that is really relatable and something I really, really enjoy. And just overall, I honestly don't think the series is going to be bad. It's just one of those series that isn't really pull me in based on what the subject is. So Boogie, what is your opinion on this? Do you recommend it?
Recommend it if you like BL. Personally, I will not be checking out this series just because BL really... I haven't really dived into that genre yet. Not really my thing, but if you're into it, cool. Check it out.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of those series. It's like it's a very specific kind of thing you'd have to like to be able to get into it. I honestly, again, it seems good, but we're gonna move on to the next one, which is called Perfect World. I believe this is a shoujo. It is definitely a shoujo. I don't even know why I said maybe. So this is an office party reunites Sugumi with her high school crush Itsuki. He realized his dream of becoming an architect, but along the way he experienced an spinal injury that put him in a wheelchair. Now Sumugi's rekindled feelings will butt up against prejudice she's never considered, and Itsuki will have to decide if he's ready to let someone into his heart. And yet they may soon discover that without each other, the world feels imperfect. Now, this is a rom-com slice-of-life series that, honestly, I've been pretty intrigued by. I'm just going to skip it, obviously, because with the pile of stuff I have to read right now, I am just going to pass it. This is another one of those series. If you like rom-coms, I think it is going to be good. I don't know how into the shoujo thing it is. I'm a surface dweller on the shoujo community. I have Yona, and I have Kimi no Teroke from Me to You. That is all I've explored in the shoujo community. But, Boogie, have you heard of this series? What do you think about it?
I find myself in a very similar situation of you. Of course, Yona of the Dawn is like my favorite shoujo as of right now. But that being said, I mean, it sounds intriguing, especially coming from like a office work background myself. Definitely, that sounds very interesting. Personally, I don't know if I would check it out right away. And this goes for a lot of probably the series that we're going to talk about now. I'm not really the kind of person that will pick up something that, when volume 1 comes out, just because if I like it, I'm going to want to have at least another volume.
Oh yeah, definitely more of a binge reader
to read. But I think, if you're into shoujo, it's a win. Hey, you're getting another series that, it sounds cool. So, this is great for the shoujo community and those that like to indulge on this type of content. So I think it's a win. This is good.
Definitely. This is definitely what shows you that if you buy your digital first Kodansha titles and you get enough sales, it will translate into a physical release, because this was a digital first title, and because of the sales, I'm assuming because of sales, I don't know why they would put on digital first, not good sales, and then put it in a physical release. Basically put it in a physical volume. So if you want to support it, the digital series, you got to support digital first. It's a rough road, but when publishers have to commit, there's a lot of things that goes into publishers. Obviously, I don't know everything. I don't work in a book publishing community, but there's a lot of stuff that goes into a physical release that's a lot easier. Just throw in digital, be like, well, try it out. If it works, it works, and then if it does, it goes to physical. But yes, this is one of those series, again, like I said, you're into shoujo. Another thing where I'll probably, if it goes on like sale really cheap and I finally catch up on my stuff, I'll check up. But overall, I have series that I prefer need to catch up first. But anyway, we're going to check out Blue Flag, which is a series that I've actually read concurrently on the Manga Plus app, and completely it's actually one of my most favorable series on the Manga Plus app. It took me off guard. I didn't know what it was going to be about, but it's absolutely amazing. It's one of the best series I've read recently, especially on the Manga Plus app. But we're going to get into the description right now. And this is an unexpected love quadrangle with a dash of unrequited love as two classmates, a boy and a girl, begin to fall for each other when each of their best friends have already fallen for them. It's the last year of high school, and love is in the air. Romantic feelings have been bundling up over years of friendship. Over years of friendship come to life. When Tachi's classmate Futaba asks him to help her confess to his best friend Toma, it sparks the catalyst that begins the sweet and heart-wrenching journey of their third and final year of high school. For some reason, Tachi Ichinose just can't tolerate Kazue. Wow, I am like, I was doing really good earlier, and then like, at like a downhill spiral, I'm totally going down. But at the start of the third year in high school, he finds himself in the same homeroom as her, along with his childhood friend and the school sports star Toma Mita. But one day, Futaba opens up to Tachi, admitting she has a crush on Toma and asking for his help in confessing to him. There's just one problem. Toma seems to already have a secret crush on someone else. Now, this is a series. Minor spoiler. Are you okay with it's something that's very early on. It's like a first chapter thing. Boogie, you okay with me spoiling this real quick? It's something that sets up the rest of the story, but it's not really like too big of a spoiler.
Yeah, totally fine.
Okay, so basically Toma, the sports kid, is, again, spoiler alerts if you don't want to know. He's gay. He likes his friend, so he likes him, and I believe his name's Tachi. Tachi likes Futaba, and it goes kind of like that. And then there's another friend who likes Futaba, who's her best friend. So it's basically this whole, like, they're all butting each other, and it's just like look into what it's like to like come open as a gay person. It's one of the most interesting series because throughout it takes a look at all sides. People for it, against it, and in between who don't really care, and also people who take a middle ground to it. And it's one of the ones that puts it on the fairest spectrum possible. Which, obviously, you got your own opinion. Everyone has their own opinions, but the way the book does it, it doesn't really pick sides. It just shows what happens. It explains every different perspective of it, which I think is honestly really unique series, in the sense that it doesn't really pick a side. It just teaches you about what each person thinks and like the mindset of it and rationalize it. It doesn't really make one person seem crazy for thinking one way and one person thinking like shaming the other person for not into it. Obviously, I'm okay with it. Most people are. It's 2020. Wake up if you're not. But it tells a side of what people like who aren't into it were like, what they would think about it, and just really rationalize it in an opinion where it doesn't make them seem like monsters. And I really like that because it's just something very different that gives a very eye-opening perspective to other people's opinion you maybe not have heard of. So what do you think, Boogie?
The way you just described it makes it seem very interesting. I don't know if I would pick it up per se, but definitely the way you just described it makes it definitely seem interesting, and maybe perhaps down the road, after I burn through. It definitely seems interesting for me personally. Not enough to like jump to the priority list of things that I would want to purchase over over the rest of things that are on my list right now. But definitely, I mean, in the future, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, I do, man. This is one of the series I'd recommend for anybody. It's obviously another slice of life, which we've been seeing a trend of just all slice of life so far, or for the most part, a majority slice of life. A lot of new slice of life series coming out this month, which I'm all for. Me and Boogie were talking about a little bit before this. We're like, man, slice of life has been a category that we're both into, and it's just something about. I think for me, it's something that could be related to in real life. It's something that can like actually be acted out. Why do you like it so much, or can you like rationalize it?
Rationalize what?
Like why you like slice of life? Like why is it your favorite right now?
Oh, slice of life.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, rationalizing slice of life. Okay, so if let's say you're into shonen, you're into the battle shonen, really into heavily focused, maybe it's a cerebral, dark horror type of series. Every series, every type of anime, manga, so on and so forth, story likes to have a point. And what I like about slice of life is the point for a lot of them are just to enjoy the episode or just to enjoy the chapter. Of course, there can be heavy plot, heavy drama, heavy romance. There can be definite tropes and whatnot in slice of lives. But personally, for where I am right now, definitely really digging the slice of life aspect to watching anime or reading manga. That being said, I think maybe, and this could just be me thinking because the game just came out, but I think the attraction towards slice of life is very similar towards the attraction of something like Animal Crossing, right? Where it's just easy to enjoy. But I could be wrong on that. Maybe that's just me being on the fringe thinking, but it's hard to pinpoint why someone would particularly like slice of life. But for me personally, it's something that it's easily accessible. I tend to really like the characters in slice of life because
Yeah.
it's that it's heavily focused on yeah, whether it be character development or character backgrounds or the interactions between the two people or just the main cast. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting question that you just proposed. It's hard to pinpoint, I would say, but definitely on my end, very much enjoying slice of life as of late.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, subjective. Everyone has their own reasons why they like or don't like something. To me, like I fell in love with slice of life because of I started off a lot obviously with shonen. I was all into shonen, epic fights, epic stuff. But to find it a story like you said that's focused on character development, these dramatic events, something that relies on the characters solely instead of a gigantic fight, it just became something really intriguing to me and felt very different from what I've been reading and just really pulled me in from like series obviously like Blue Flag, Layback Camp, which is something that's very easy to enjoy, just about camping, about people joining over a hobby, which is probably my favorite thing in manga at the moment. Is just people having a common goal / hobby that they can all bond over. You have plenty of other slice of life series, Sweetness and Lightning. I could go on, but we will continue to our next volume.
My favorites, really quickly though.
Yeah,
my favorite slice of life as of late has definitely been a cooking slice of life. Love that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
man.
I remember that on the stream. I told you to
yeah.
read Sweetness and Lightning. Have you checked it out yet?
Yeah.
Or did you?
I'm gonna be checking it out probably this weekend. And actually, what was the name of the series that I was just watching just the other night, like this week? The one I was watching was, and it's not the one I was telling you off air either.
Okay.
It was, let me look it up because I want the audience to check this one out. It's really great for a, it's a short series too. It's like 12-minute episodes, but it's really, really good. It's called Today's Menu for the Emiya Family. I highly recommend you guys. It's literally all about cooking. Beautifully done. Every episode is actually a recipe in and of itself, but just how it's done, really, really well done. And the intro is really great too. So highly recommend it, you guys.
Definitely, yeah. I gotta check that out. That sounds really interesting. And like cooking anime, I don't know, something about it. I don't even cook that well. I can make like a mean box of mac and cheese. I'll rival anybody on that. But beyond that, I'm not the best at actually cooking. But something you think of something about like anime and manga, like cooking, is really cool. Like just to read about and learn about.
For me personally, I don't want to go ahead and say that like but I can definitely work my way around a functioning kitchen. And watching anime is very different because before I started cooking anime and manga, I was very much getting into I don't want to say collecting, but low key kind of collecting cookbooks.
Okay.
And learning how, because now I don't have roommates. I live completely on my own, and I have the space and time. Well, a lot of time now to actually dedicate to cooking. And I think cooking is something that harping on what you were talking about with slice of life, where it's you like seeing characters connect through hobbies or whatnot. I think it's different than a hobby in watching characters connect through those, but there's definitely a connection through cooking and eating. It's a very community-based thing.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love it. And from my minor cooking background, of course, I've worked in kitchens, I've worked in the industry, growing up here and there. I absolutely love it. Not only am I drawing inspiration from this kind of stuff, I love the atmosphere cooking creates, both in anime and in real life. There's nothing like a home, cozy, warm feeling than a busy kitchen. And I absolutely love that. And I think the vibe that gives off is very similar to a warm, bustling, coffee shop vibe. Mm-hmm. And it's those kinds of vibes that I think, especially now in what's happening around the world, that we need more of.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's weird. Like, my dad was never really a cooker, but with the whole thing, obviously, people getting strapped inside and stuff like that, he went full-on chef mode in this house. And I don't know, I like you said, that warm kitchen, just that, like, nice vibe it gives off, it's very comforting, and it's one of the most relaxing feelings you can have. But we're going to get on to the next series without that, and that is the New Gate. This is a One Piece publisher release, and I picked this book for the One Piece aspect, which I will go into for a second, but let's look into this. And this is an online game transformed into a life and death struggle for its players. Thanks to the valiant efforts of Shin, the most powerful of them all, an end to the game and freedom from everyone seemed within reach. But just moments after Shin defeats the game's final boss, he finds himself bathed in an unknown light and transported some 500 years into the future of an in-game world. Thrown from a simple game gone into a strange new world, one young swordsman of unrivaled strength is about to embark on a legendary journey. It seems like every other basic slice of life, but just some. It's like he got isekai'd in his own isekai. It's weird. Like, he's normal. He's already the most powerful player. So let's put him in the new world when he just basically starts at level 1 again. Incredibly overpowered. I do not recommend this. I think there's too many isekais at this point, unless there's something series does something absolutely unique, like Rising the Shield Hero was something that was very good, and how it does its story. The isekai element thrown out, the way it crafts the story is what's great about it and what makes it unique from other fantasy series or isekai series. This one doesn't really feel like it has anything unique. It just feels very plain. I really am worried about One Piece books because I don't really know any series releasing by them besides, like I said, Rising of the Shield Hero, which is like their stuff. So, what do you think about this series? And do you even know what like One Piece books is, or like any series by them?
No, every time you said One Piece, I kept imagining. So I honestly, I can't. I don't really know what that is. Personally, on the statement that you said, too many isekais coming out, I can agree to a certain point. I would rather not judge it before I read it, but there's definitely a huge trend of isekais coming out because they tend to do well. So who's to blame them? But yeah, do you mind elaborating on what the whole One Piece, what that exactly means to me?
Oh, that's the publisher. That's the publisher's called One Piece. See?
The publisher, so they name themselves One Piece.
Yeah, but it's not spelled like an actual like piece. It's like the peace sign.
Oh, so it's One Piece, like Peace. Okay.
Yeah,
that's great.
See,
cool.
That's what I'm saying. Like this is the thing with like new publishers. It's so hard to get your name out there, and just that's why it's so important on the kind of series you're doing. That's why Rising of the Shield Hero, great grab, getting the light novels and the manga. Obviously, when that thing was popular, it's still really popular. Smart, like super smart to get that. But after that, I don't really think they have that much else to go off of that's really popular. They just have like one, like their magnum opus series, and then nobody else really knows them. And I don't know. This is just one of those publishers where I don't wish any of them like goes out of business or anything. I wish the best for them always, but it just seems like these publishers aren't getting like the popular series, and it's one of those series where maybe, obviously, again, I'm not in the industry, but it's maybe if you have to shell out at the beginning a little bit more for those more popular titles. Obviously, you're not going to get like the best, most popular series out there. Keep your hands off Etiquette, and you're not going to have the money to compete with like big people like Dark Horse, Viz Media, all that other stuff at the beginning, but you have to do something that has a name for itself at the beginning, and at least in my opinion, trying to find maybe like cult classic animes that have mangas that are based off of mangas and then work with that. But I don't really know. Do you like? What about you, Boogie?
So I think it's a mixed bag of things. Business is very weird. It is, shall we say, an unforgiving landscape. So no matter what we say tonight, hats off to someone trying to do the publishing game.
Oh yeah, definitely.
In times like these. So hats off to them. I think if they were the people that did this Hero, I am familiar with that series. I did enjoy the anime of it. Personally, I think once again, I'm not going to get any grief for shooting their shot again, because we don't know. We don't know their market strategies. We don't know much. We don't know what it's like to to bid on a series or to try to get the negotiation tactics or what's happening behind closed doors. We don't know any of this. So it's honestly really hard for me to tell. Of course, I'm not wishing any ill will towards any publishing company. I think it's great that there are people even having the wherewithal to even start a publishing company in today's landscape. So I think that's beautiful. And if it's just another isekai, and if that's what if you're implying that this is the best that they can afford to perhaps put out, because I don't think it's as simple as like putting more, throwing more dollars to get a more popular series at it. I think if you're a smaller publishing company, you can't really have that mentality, because where is these dollars coming from? I don't think it's a few more dollars to get a more popular series. I think it's a lot more, and definitely out of these smaller publishing companies' reach. But then again, we don't know what happens with contracting departments and backdoor negotiations. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and I think that it's not one person making the decision to have this new series on there. Right? There's probably a team of people that have reviewed this, have had meetings on it for weeks and weeks prior to making the decision and the announcement. So I think let's let Father Time tell, and let's just judge the book by what's inside of it. Let's judge the series for the actual content. Speculation is great, but at the end of the day, I'm going to support it. I don't know if I'll support it with dollars. We'll see. But I wish this company no ill will. That I think that's where I'll leave it.
Yeah, I don't wish it ill will. And again, it's kind of an outsider's looking in kind of perspective. Again, I don't know. Obviously, like he said, like all the marketing strategies, I'm just shooting off the hip. What I think is obviously not going to be the right thing. I don't have a business background. It's just my opinion. I've kind of looked into business for college. I want to go into like marketing specifically. I have not actually got too deep into it, obviously. So I'm like scratching the surface and I don't know everything. So again, like I said earlier, take it with a grain of salt. It's just my opinion. Again, wish nothing for the best. I hope this series is better than what I think. It's just a first impression based on what I read. Again, I hope it's really good. But we're going to get on to our next series. For our second to last series, we have My Dress Up Darling. This is by Shinichi Fukuda, and this series is basically a slice-of-life teasing romance with a emphasis on the comedy. It's basically about a gal who has her own personal secret of cosplay, and the guy here who has a love of making artisan dolls or traditional Japanese dolls. So let's get to the description. Traumatized by a childhood incident with a friend who took exception to his love of traditional dolls, doll artisan hopeful Wakata Goju passes his days as a loner, finding solace in the home ec room at his high school. To Wakana, people like beautiful Maureen Kitagawa, a trendy girl who's always surrounded by a throng of friends, is practically an alien from another world. But when cheerful Maureen, never one to be shy, spots Wakana sewing away one day after school, she barges in with the aim of roping her quiet classmate into her secret hobby, cosplay. Will Wakana's wounded heart be able to handle the invasion from this sexy alien? This is something I'm actually going to pick up. I did read like the first two things of the scan of it. Obviously, I passed on my whole scan thing. For some reason, I just fell out of the whole scan thing, especially after Manga Rock stopped, in the sense that also I only read this when I didn't know Manga Rock was a scanlation site. Obviously, you gotta have a whole opinion about scan sites, and for some reason, if it's online, if I actually have to go on my laptop, I don't I don't know, I just don't end up sticking with the series. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. This series is absolutely fantastic. I actually do really enjoy this series. I would recommend it if you are a fan of slice of life and comedy. Like I said, there's a lot of slice of life going on to this. But what do you think, Boogie?
Okay, so we're back again to the whole slice of life thing. Definitely agree with it. Personally, it didn't just from the description alone. I would like to comment on something where it's like, manga as well as other forms of media. I think one of the beautiful things of it, if it's done incredibly well, is that let's say I'm not into, or I wouldn't necessarily care about a guy making traditional dolls of that sort. But the manga and the writing capabilities might actually intrigue me enough to stick with the series, and I may learn a thing or two and open up my mind. So definitely open to looking and trying it out right off the bat. If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times during this podcast. I'm burning through a lot of a lot of things right now, so I wouldn't check it out necessarily right away. And to harp on the whole Manga Rock thing, personally, I don't do any scans whatsoever. I've never even been on Manga Rock or anything like that. So I typically will buy my series. I like to buy physical, but hey, digital is great too. I do my fair share of digital reading as well. So yes, I think the series is cool. Don't know if I would recommend it, but if you're recommending it and you're giving it a solid recommendation to me personally, just from friend to friend, I would definitely check it out as a personal recommendation.
Oh yeah, definitely. Again, I've read only the first two chapters. I'm going to definitely, when this comes out, I'm putting a review on it because I have a lot of expectations for it. So if you guys are iffy on that, wait for my review to come out. I'll do that. I'm already getting it day one because I'm interested in the series. But overall, like, these series have really pulled me in, like, the slice of life genre, this whole, like, teasing thing with please don't toy with me Nagatoro, teasing master Tagagi-san. It's something about them is just fun, and it's, again, a little more into the slice of life, a different section of the slice of life. I'm always in for different things. I don't know. I don't really like doing the same exact thing over and over again. Repetitive things are always the most tedious to me, depending on what it is for the most part. So when I always find, like, even if it's a slice of life, which I'm super into right now, finding a new section of slice of life. Like, you have Blue Flag, which is a super serious, dramatic look into something specific. Then you have this series, which is more lighthearted, funny connection between a character who loves cosplay and a character who loves traditional Japanese styles. There's just so much different and things that I think obviously manga has, and that's the beautiful thing about manga is there's so many different things you can never really you can burn out on manga, obviously, but if you really choose to, you can find different and new and interesting series pretty much to last you your entire normal life, unless you're spending 24/7 reading manga. But I don't know, have you seen that, or like how do you feel about like reading one specific thing, or do you like to just jump around?
By thing, do you mean series or do you mean genre?
Genre.
Yeah, I definitely if you guys have seen any one of my hauls, I definitely bounce around. I'm someone that would purchase Berserk, and then the next thing that I unbox would be Silver Spoon, and then I may unbox Monster, and then I may go to Yona of the Dawn, and then I may, so on and so forth. I will definitely bounce around from like Ancient Magus Bride to, Knights of Sidonia to Tokyo Ghoul to, Battle Angel Alita. I think diversity is absolutely fantastic, and I think that different genres give different authors or mangakas the ability to display their prowess in storytelling. So definitely for branching out and enjoying multiple styles of genre within the community. That being said, I also think that there are some people that very much stick to, let's just we all know the stereotype of like the shonen Chad, you know what I mean, where he's you're getting into the Narutos and you're reading just the One Pieces and the Hunter Hunters and so on and so forth, which is 150% fine. I think much like artists, let's look at music for an example, just really quickly. You might have an artist that can dabble in various styles of music, but if you want to become, I guess, rather an expert or proficient in one craft, you may stick to one or two genres, right? And I think that there is a different level of appreciation if someone were to stick with, let's just say, shonens, their entire reading career. You really get to understand the nuances of those series, and it probably leads to a not deeper appreciation, but let's say a deeper understanding of shonens or whatever particular genre you go into. So I think for both ends of the spectrum, there are valid points, but personally, I find myself in the similar boat as you, where, yes, multiple genres is definitely something that I find myself in. In fact, when I'm reading manga, I tend to read 2 series at a time and no more than that. And I tend to read one more action-y, whether it be shonen or seinen type of thing, and then something romance to get my my hopeless romantic side, fix going on. So, definitely all for that.
Yeah, I really like that perspective, like the one series thing. Obviously, when you can only get so much of when you don't really do something, but just seeing, like, at least, like, looking into somebody else's shoes, sitting in yourself someone's shoes, seeing that perspective is honestly really interesting and something that is really cool. And again, if you just read shonen and seinen or shoujos, josei, whatever, if that's just your thing, do you, man. It's free country, and I respect it. I can obviously get why you'd only stick to one and why you would go around, but we're going to get on to our last series here. This is the last manga that, like, a volume 1 manga that I've decided to highlight to come out this month, and that is a actual re-release, is a collector's edition. This is Pokemon Adventures Collector's Edition. The manga, this is the first volume. They're going to re-release the whole thing in a, like, special collector's edition, 1 and 3. So let's read the bottom right here, and this is Red doesn't just want to train Pokemon, he wants to be their friend too. That makes things even more complicated than usual as he travels through the dangerous zones, battling gym leaders for badges, and discovering secret Pokemon along the way. Now he's got to team up with his rival Blue and the thief Green to fight a common enemy. Can he stay focused enough to rise to the challenge? Now here's the thing about Pokemon manga. You think the games would be crazy better, right? Because obviously that's where they started. But I started off with Pokemon Diamond, which is technically not in the Pokemon Adventures series. It's another one of the Pokemon. There's Pokemon Adventures, then there's Pokemon Adventures Diamond and Pearl. There's different sections of the entirety, but from my experience with Diamond and Pearl, it is amazing the kind of story they pull off of a Pokemon adventure. You would never because obviously in the anime games, it kind of runs the same thing. New person, you do your thing, you run through everybody, beat the enemy, beat the Elite Four, become the champion, game's over, catch the legendary Pokemons. This takes into like the actual story elements and takes an actual look into taking the battling and make it look especially realistic for an actual Pokemon battle. It takes the characters and puts an emphasis on them and starts to develop them as characters. The art style is good. This is one of the series that I'm extremely excited to check out, the Pokemon Adventures, because I've never actually read this side of it, but from Diamond and Pearl, it is one of my favorite series. It was actually one of the earliest series I ever read in manga. I think this Pokemon series is vastly underrated, obviously because the games would be more popular, but Pokemon Adventures is a definite series I would challenge anybody to check out if you had the money and if you also have the space. For $13.49, not a bad deal for 3 volumes. That's actually not bad at all, because usually you'd have $7.50 each for a single, and I believe that's what it is right now. So you're getting that for vastly cheaper. I definitely recommend this if you like Pokemon or if you like video games. If you've never even checked out Pokemon, this is a great entry because it introduces the entire series, all the Pokemon, and it's fantastic. So what do you think, Boogie?
Well, I think for every 90s kids out there, this is going to be an obvious, whether you're going to collect it or not, you're going to support this, right? As someone that has been a huge fan of Pokemon ever since they were young. I remember when the first games came out. I remember being, in elementary school and it being absolutely just completely taking over everything. Yes, definitely. I don't know if I would actually start collecting it right away, but this would be a series that definitely would hit my radar and I would eventually check out. There's a on my channel. This isn't actually brought up too much. I really don't get this recommendation all too much, and I wonder why. I have heard good things about it though, just through being on Twitter or just being online. So I would definitely recommend it. And fun fact, I'm such a fan of Pokemon just from being back in the day that before I actually went into music school, I got a Pokemon tattoo. So this
nice.
is for all intents and purposes. I definitely support the Pokemon Adventures, the collector edition, and I think the price point, $13.99 or $7.99, whatever you said.
Yeah,
I think that's great. Especially if single volumes are $7.99. That's I think that's a steal. I see no negatives for this. Highly recommend it. Please enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely. Out of all these series, if you're only gonna check out one this month, I would definitely recommend Pokemon Adventures to you, Boogie. If you're going to check out one this month, again, I would say this one is probably going to be the best, in my personal opinion. But I think this series is going to be absolutely fantastic. Maybe a little bit of nostalgia is taking over, but I remember I read these Pokemon Diamond and Pearl series so much. My friend gifted them to me for Christmas because he knew I liked manga, and this is about the time he was the one who introduced me to manga, and he actually fell out of it around this time, but he still bought it for me, so I respect that. And I had the first 2 volumes, and then I still have them to this day. I thought I lost them for a long time. They're not in the best condition, but I'm gonna keep those. I'm not gonna even replace them because there's so many good memories with him actually buying that and actually picking something that he knows I love. But I remember going to the library all the time. You have the next volume. I loved the Pokemon Adventures series, and I could not recommend this series enough. But that's all we have for April of the manga releases, and we are down to our final section called The Hot Seat. And with this segment, I have a question for Boogie, which he has not gotten yet, because I wanted this hot seat section to be a question for him. He could do it to me at some point. We could have a guest on, do it to them as the future series goes on. But the hot seat is basically just taking a question that they've not heard, putting them on the spot, seeing what they think. But let's see what you think. So the question is, Boogie, how do you feel about people saying that you're the best manga tuber right now? Do you agree with the opinion? What do you think you're doing different from other manga creators, that people are from the manga tubers community, such as myself? I would agree that right now you are doing the most for the community. You're doing everything. But what do you think about this kind of praise?
It's really hard to react to a statement like that because, I think that there's a lot of content creators in this community that are churning out absolutely amazing content. It is honestly shocking when people reach out to me and say statements like what you just said. It's what does it make me feel like? Humbled, grateful, shocked, shy, nervous. You know, yeah, a bunch of emotions. I do notice myself seeing. I do see myself putting out different styles of content here that isn't the most traditional styles of content that you would find on MangaTube, and it's been an absolute blessing to, I guess, rise as quickly as I have been, with my sub count. And for all intents and purposes, it's still a small channel, but for being in the community for such a small amount of time and having the subscriber count that I have and the engagement on my videos and the community that has been built, I'm for the praise that people say, whether it's, creating MangaTube content and at the level that I'm creating at, or just all the praises that I get, the ones that that really just hit my heart the most is the praises that I get for the community that has just seemingly popped up out of nowhere here on my channel, which is absolutely amazing. Whether it be for the subreddit that my subscribers made for me, or just the comment sections, or just my live streams, absolutely amazing support from my community, and it's continuing to grow, which is absolutely shocking. Yes, like I said before, I have noticed that I am seeing a trend in the videos that I do churn out that perhaps, go against the norm of videos that are being created. But I think that's the exciting part of being a content creator. If I said this once, I've said it 1,000 times. If you've seen any one of my interviews on other people's channels or podcasts or appearances anywhere, I don't really look at myself as a manga tuber, but rather a YouTuber or a creator that creates manga content, and I very much enjoy the process of creating content. Very, very, very much. I enjoy the process from being at the drawing board and coming up with the ideas to the technical aspect of shooting things, then to the post-production aspect of it as well. So if you haven't checked out my channel, please go check it out. It's a Boogie Snacks. I'm sure links will be down below, but honestly, I'm not quite sure if I, deserve the high praise that people are giving me as of late. But it does motivate me to continue to up my game. And I like to tell people that are aspiring, content creators here in the community, don't be afraid to think out of the box and create the content that you would want to see, because that tends to be my go-to statement, where it's like, I'm just making the content that I would want to see in the community. It's led to relatively good things. Once again, I mean, I'm if you can tell, I'm bouncing around the question where it's like, how are you taking this praise? Honestly, I've never been good at taking compliments. That's just how I am by nature. But I can't say that I agree with it, but it does make me feel warm and fuzzy inside. So yeah, thank you to everyone that has been watching my content and enjoying the videos and reaching out to me and so on and so forth. It definitely does not go unnoticed. So thank you so much.
Yeah, definitely. In my opinion, I think well deserved. You're inspiring to, like, personally me. If we're gonna get gushy real quick, I'll praise you a little bit. Like, seeing your kind of content and you like going outside the box, obviously, it's really encouraging to me personally. Like, wanting to go try different kind of things. I think it really encourages other kind of creators to do this, because you're kind of, I would say, maybe a little bit of a trailblazer for kind of stuff, because a lot of people, if we saw for lately, a lot of people keep talking about this glass ceiling in manga, and I think we had a talk with Flip about this on a live stream. We were talking about how I think at right now the only reason there's a ceiling is because nobody's really trying to go outside the box. And I would say with you, I would say some of my videos, if I'm going to be a little bit narcissistic, a little bit not normal to the community, and something I aspire to do is do things that are not normal in the community, just like you say, a creator, not a manga tuber, because the process itself of trying to create something good that's also entertaining, pertains to what your channel is overall about, is just one of the most fun things you can do, and is something that is one of the most gratifying things you can do for me. I don't know about you personally, but I love trying to think of something new, that's something nobody else has thought of before, and just something that if I put it out there and it does well, and it's something I know I thought of myself, and I created this like thing that nobody thought of before, and people enjoy it. And I bring it up a lot. Obviously, the MangaTube Awards, I bring it up a lot. There are award shows out there, but seeing how there wasn't anything for manga and going through the process of actually trying to make a stage for myself, using a green screen for the first time, going through the painstaking stuff of editing, trying to like do all the templates, trying to getting all the people in the community. It's just one of the most gratifying things that I've done and personally satisfying, and I love it so much. And yeah, Boogie, obviously, I think you deserve it 100%. So I think that about wraps this up. Do you have any closing remarks that you'd like to say?
Definitely no closing remarks, you guys. If you guys are obviously watching this on DubsNotSubs channel, but if for some reason you found this and you haven't subscribed to DubsNotSubs, please do yourself a favor and go ahead and mash that subscribe button down below. That really would help out not only Dubs, but the series in general. And of course, if you'd like to support his channel, go ahead and mash that like button down below. It really would appreciate it and lets us know that you guys at home are watching and listening.
Yeah, thank you so much, Boogie, for coming on. He's going to be my co-host for this. He is my first mate. I'm the captain of this ship. We're going to be having a good time. I'm excited to continue this series. I'm really happy, Boogie, you said yes and did this because I wanted to do more collaborations, and I'm super excited to get you on the channel and to have this kind of series. If you have not heard of Boogie, what are you doing? Go subscribe to this man. Link is in the description. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching the first ever episode of the podcast arc. I thank you all so much for taking the time out of your day to listen to this. And have a good day. And as I say in all my videos, I will see you in another video. And there we go.
All right, you guys, please be safe at home and see you next time.
There we go. Awesome.